Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday. This is a weekly show which covers all the news from Star Citizen from the week just past. I am your host Mac, so let's get on with it. This week 3.7 goes into Evocati testing. We get a first look into FPS mining and how it will work, plus the lore team answer our questions about all things lore. So before we begin, I'd like to say a huge thank you and welcome to Rumpel NJ for becoming my latest patron. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you do enjoy my content and would like to help make it better, plus get your referral code in some of my videos, then follow the link below to my Patreon page for more information. So on this week's Inside Star Citizen, we took a deep look into the FPS mining coming with 3.7. Now, they said it's just more of a simplified prospector gameplay. You'll need a multi-tool and a mining attachment for the multi-tool, which can be swapped about in your Mobiglass. You'll also be able to put on sort of a rucksack bag. Kind of looks like the first backpack we'll get. There will be more, I'm sure. Has a nice yellow armor to it as well, which is good because you'll be slightly protected in case you get attacked. But when it comes to finding a cave, they will not appear on the radar. You'll need to use your eyes to spot them, which I really love that. If you're in my org, the SM Borg, you'll see I have started a cave initiative. If you're wanting to sign up to that, please do so. But once you spot a mineable in a cave, you point your multi-tool at it and it'll scan the rock, very much like you do in the Prospector, and it will reveal the information that you need to know, like its instability, its resistance, its mass. Then you can use the tool itself, which will display the battery power and the laser power, and you've got to get them right. Again, very similar to the Prospector. But once the rock fractures, crystal shards will break onto the floor, and you can physically pick them up and inspect them, and then drop them into your backpack. Now you can leave them in your backpack and head to a trading console and sell them directly from there, or you can actually drop them into a box, put that into your ship, and then load up your ship with all the boxes and then sell them all as a whole. There's no need to refine these crystals, they are pure gems and they come out just like that. They're actually quite expensive as well, but the more you get, the more you can earn. Now you can even mine asteroids in FPS and extract the small gems found on them. You can mine them in a prospector, but you will miss out on the small, expensive crystal gems. You'll just destroy them if you use the prospector. But aside from mining, you can explore caves. If you don't have a mining tool, you will still be able to find harvestables. They sort of showed off this electronic device. Not sure what it is, but it could be a useful device to keep, maybe one of those hacking chips, or maybe sell it. There's also plants and fruits dotted around which can be picked and sold. And they said even animal remains, so we'll see what that looks like. After this, we heard a bit of the sounds when it comes to mining. Now, the mining tool will have a bit of a sci-fi but realistic sound to it. They want to keep it grounded and to convey the level of power so the player can tell if they're using the right level of power or if they're overkilling or underkilling it. The rock will begin to make sounds as well as it starts to degrade, which will be a nice indication to the player again. If you're using too much power, there'll be audible cues so you can sort of instinctively know. But even if you pick a piece of fruit from a tree, you'll hear the sound of it breaking from the root. Dropping it on the floor, you'll hear the sound of its weight. And in certain cases, depending on if it's wet or dry, you will hear the difference. So they're trying to give us a lot of feedback. They want the player to feel immersed and grounded to the object, which it does sound really good, and I'm so excited for 3.7. But to finish off with, they left us with a nice little look into a cave, the sound and using a glow stick. Again, it's just going to be so much fun having this full mission cycle, and I'm hoping to start getting more multiplayer stuff going with the org, using each division as they're needed for this cave initiative, so be sure to sign up if that sounds interesting to you. So this week's Star Citizen Live was with the lore writers Dave Haddock and Will Weisbaum, answering our questions on all things lore related. First question being, can you tell us more about the Tavaran? Now they say there's not a huge amount of them living in human society. They are a part of society, like Suj Kosi, who is a newly appointed senator. Many of them do embrace the UEE, although a few are trying to resurrect the old Tavaran culture and have it included in the UEE, which I'm all for that. I like the sound of this. We're not going to see them everywhere, but it is likely that they will have stories that unfold with the Tavaran, and a mixture of Tavaran with stories behind them if you go and speak to them. Apparently they eat sort of nutrient meals all day long. They don't sit down and have proper meals like we do. They sort of fuel themselves as they go. Someone asked how is the Galactopedia coming along, and if you didn't know, the Galactopedia is kind of like Wikipedia. It's just the verse-wide gathering of all information about the verse and what we know at this point in time. Now they say it's still progressing. Hopefully they'll have something soon to show, but the jump points that you get as a subscriber does have actual Galactopedia articles in them, and I can say for myself they are great reads. Next question, will we find places where other languages are prominent other than English? Now they say they are incorporating a lot of the languages and signage to the other languages like Jan and Banu. Around ArtCorp, the food stalls now will have Jan words on them, and lanterns will have Banu words on them as well. So they are beginning to transition them into, I suppose, society. Now there was a question which was asking the lore writers to elaborate more on the mining of Quantum Fuel. Now this is kind of an in-depth analysis of how it's going to work. It has just been approved by Chris Roberts, and you know they've written out all the scientists' names and the timelines and stuff, but I'll try and explain it. Now it obviously needed to be found in most systems, including the Sol system, because we needed it to get out of the Sol system. It is rare for the price, but common enough so that you don't get stuck. And the basic idea is that there are particles called transions that can bend space and mass around them. They were obviously a really cool discovery, but difficult and fleeting to find. After discovering them, scientists found that they were stable and that these transients would attach themselves onto atomic particles temporarily, which is how we began harvesting them and then converting them into quantum fuel. For example, when it comes to mining, you'll find a rock and after scanning it realise that it's made up of, say, 5% of these transisotopes, and then you'll have to harvest them quickly. But if you use too much energy, then they'll dissolve back into normal isotopes. So mining quantum fuel carries a high risk. Also, transporting them will be a challenge. Maybe you need specific containers, or you just need to take it steady and slow. But I like the sound of this. I like the fact that there's a whole lore behind it and kind of scientific fiction, sci-fi way of making it work. I'm going to be interested to see how mining will come along with, I think it's the Starfarer is going to be one that could probably mine quantum fuel, but that's for another day. Anyway, next question. ArtCorp's timeline doesn't match up what's going on. Now they say they are going to address the timeline and still rolling out the changes on updating the lore that is affected. It is now saying that it was discovered in 2851 and that ArtCorp took over the planet in 2865. Will Star Citizen have books and datapads strewn across the verse with not only fluff lore posts, but information that could lead to missions and things of interest? Now they say yes, definitely. They are planning to translate all the short stories that are in Jump Point. They will be converted into in-game books to read and whatnot. It's all obviously low tier priorities at the moment, but I really like this. It's like with Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls series. I often do enjoy reading a book and just getting information from it. Whether or not it leads to anything or not, it's just nice to have that option. So when you're in quantum travel, you can open up one of the short stories and just keep yourself entertained. But with some text leading to missions and maybe secret treasure and whatnot, I think it's a really cool way of just having missions that you wouldn't necessarily know about if you hadn't read it in the first place. Next question, when will we see more lore presented to us in-game instead of just on the website? Now apparently all the current missions are written in lore, but they are more corporate lore. They do plan to write more missions which have branching mission sides and lead to other areas of narrative, and story-driven missions as well, not just a simple quick mission, but long branching missions, which I'm very excited for. Someone asked what the current state of Imperator Costigan is. Now his time begun in 2940, I think it was, and you do have a 10-year term as an Imperator. His is obviously coming to an end with it being 2949 now, so it is his last year serving, and it sounds like there will be an election coming up soon. They will be writing this up, I'm sure, so do keep your eyes peeled for that one. Someone asked why we don't see nuclear weapons in-game. Now, apparently torpedoes do have nuclear warheads. I don't know if that's true or not. But if they did allow players to have that kind of firepower, there would need to be strong limitations to this, especially as civilians with weapons. Weapons are intended to be defensive in nature, So it would be quite devastating just giving players unlimited access to nuclear weapons, and I'm okay with that. I don't think they should be granted access unless you have some form of military contract, which you would have to have proven yourself. Maybe that could lead into pirates stealing nuclear armaments. Someone asked if there'll be any androids, and they said no. Is there a limit to the number of planets that can have a UEE representation? Now they say no, they would expect that they can accept as many as they want, and if they apply for representation but don't get it, they can reapply at another time. So we may see throughout the verse planets and systems that aren't represented under the UEE law or faction becoming represented later down the line. Someone asked when the synth world will be completed. If you didn't know, there was a whole planet being built, and it's sort of been ongoing for a while now. But they did want a lot of these stories and laws to be completed and unfold in the game. So just because it may seem as though they have stopped developing them, it's just because the game isn't ready yet. So when the game is likely released, we will then begin to see these things come to fruition and actually get built. And I suppose that'll go for a lot of other things in lore as well. So the final question was, with it being 2949 right now, what is Earth like? Now, during the 22nd century, the Earth went through a rough patch. It was overpopulated and there were water wars and other things. Now it's much better. The humanity is now spread out. They did some light re-terraforming to clean it up and provide more parks and so forth. Plus, some of the old structures are encased in a protective shell to make sure that they are safe. A lot of people still view it as the Pearl of the Empire. Terra want to take over that role. I would love to know what your standpoint is on this. Do you think Earth should still be the centre of the universe in terms of political control, or do you think Terra should take it? Personally, I just think Terra, but that's me. Anyway, that was Star Citizen Live. Let's move on. So also this week, there was a new Something Every Tuesday post titled Parasite 5 Dark Birth. There was also an update regarding Arena Commander, and if you blast your way through enough waves on Pirate Swarm, you'll get access to the Caterpillar Pirate livery and earn the Pirate Aggressor badge. Also, it looks as though there's something surrounding the Hammerhead and Arena Commander, but I'm uncertain about what that is. It does mention keep your eyes on the roadmap with an image of the Hammerhead, so there's got to be something linked there. But finally, we now know the silhouette of the RSI, well, I assume the RSI Mantis, which was revealed throughout the week. So I'm expecting the sale for the RSI Mantis will happen any day now. So that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and share the video with all your friends. If you like what I do and want to help me make it better, follow the link below to my Patreon page to learn more.